would like to get toned, build muscle, gain stamina, and lose a little bit of weight in the process. So no, when you're building muscle or you're attempting to tone your body, by default, obviously, you're going to lose weight. Depending on how much muscle you want to structure for yourself, depends on, obviously, an increase in resistance in the weight that you push or pull. For women, many women like to tone themselves from the core down, legs, glutes, calves. Most men typically work out their bodies from the core up. Core, chest muscles, arms, shoulders, things of this nature. So getting toned, depending on what your physiological endeavor is, it can be done with proper diet. Consistency is always at the top of the list. Consistency and the self-motivation to want to do more and want to do better as the process proceeds and moves forward. For those that want to build muscle for various reasons, because a lot of times it's really not about someone actually losing weight. Sometimes people want to gain weight. Some people want to not be so on the thin or petite side and want to build muscle and add some contour and shape to their anatomy. And that's okay. There's ways to do it. All of us have a set point or a reset point where all of our blood levels, body fat is in total harmony, or what's called homeostasis. Once we establish that in the body, then you can structure your body however you want, whether you want to be toned or be toned without being bulky, or for those that wish to gain a more dense or thicker muscle. Either one is okay. I mean, the human body is so flexible and durable that you literally can turn the body into anything that you want physically. I mean, depending on your overall standard diet, or what is your standard, or what is your norm. Obviously, fruits, vegetables are always essential. And the one thing that is not done enough by most of us is supplementation. Quality supplementation, or what's called a whole food supplementation. Because most of us, many if not most of us, don't consume enough fruits, vegetables, and herbs that aid or help in the healing process or in the physiological shifting process. Because adding vitamins and minerals to the diet according to your physiological structure and according to what you want to accomplish and according to what your body responds to. But supplementation is something that's absolutely lacking in many of us here in the U.S. Most of us are nutrient deficient. Nutrient deficient, meaning that our cells are not getting enough energy from our food sources. And because the soil is so depleted in this era of life because the soil is so depleted, because our commercial produce is sprayed to high heaven with pesticides and herbicides. And we know this because you can see the filming on your fruits and vegetables. These are the this is the white waxy film that that has to be have a special solution or a water sprayer in your sink to remove the pesticide and herbicide residue from your fruits and vegetables that come from many of your supermarkets. Why do you think so many fruits and vegetables are recalled? I mean, fruits and vegetables recalled? I mean, nature's food supply is recalled? Why is that? I mean, nature's food supply has been here for hundreds of thousands, millions of years. And now nature's food is being recalled to be shipped back to the manufacturer for further testing, agricultural testing. These are the things that we really need to be aware of when trying to change your physiology or just making a shift in your overall lifestyle. Because the foods that you consume can and may be harmful. We know that the food supply is highly tainted and tampered with. I mean, we know this. There's study after study after study after study. I mean, I can read off multiple studies of how the standard food supply affects the physiology, including the brain. So these are the things that have to be considered, because building muscle, supplementing your muscles with adequate carbohydrates, adequate fat. We can't be afraid of fat. Most people are afraid of fat. They're afraid of eating a fatty, rich diet or a fat-rich diet, because we need fat. We need fat to coat our joints. We need fat to that surrounds our brain. Our brain is made of fat and housed in water. So we need fat. We can't be afraid of fatty foods. Not animal fat, not the fat of animals. No, the fat of your fruits and vegetables in proportion with the standard biological makeup of the human body. The body is only fueled by nature's food supply. Nothing else. I mean, you can make all the you can isolate all your fruits and vegetables. You can isolate the vitamin C and vitamin E and the vitamin D and the calcium and potassium. You can put all of these in isolated pill form, but ultimately you're going to be doing your body a disservice, because the human body doesn't know anything about isolation or separation. It only knows affinity. It only knows affinity. When we start isolating our vital minerals, the potential for adverse reactions in the body get higher and higher, because the human body only knows the biological frequency of fruit, vegetable, herb, plant life, earth life. You know, your body doesn't know anything about synthetic chemicals. Your brain doesn't know anything about synthetic medications. No, that's not what your body is craving for. Your body is craving for energy. Energy. And all synthetic medications have the potential to be damaging to the energy frequency or energy capabilities of all your organs, including the brain. Including the brain. So we have to supplement our bodies, whether we want to be toned or build muscle, or we want to just be healthy, just generally healthy. You know, we're not training for any competitions or training for any CrossFit competition or Tough Mud. No, we just want to be healthy. We just want to get a little better. And the best way to get better is to start adding supplementation to the diet. Supplementation. Preferably whole food supplementations. I mean, I can go into candida overgrowth and things of this nature, which affect a lot of women because of their possibly because of their standard diet, possibly too much dairy in the diet, too much stress will create a candida overgrowth. An abundance of antibiotics can create candida yeast overgrowth. Women, if you're watching this, you've heard of yeast infections, which is a candida overgrowth. And typically the candida overgrowth is due to a lack of bacterial flora in the gut. The gut lining is weak. The gut lining is weak because it's been depleted of synthetic antibiotics. And when there is an overload of antibiotics, you're literally destroying your one of your top lines of defense. I mean, all persons have a innate defense system. Just like here in the U.S., we have a $1 trillion defense system, right? To protect the country from invaders, foreign and domestic. Well, the human body can be equated to the same thing. You know, your body has defenses, and like your white blood cells and other antibodies that produce in the body by way of energizing your immune system. I mean, it's very simple. When the immune system is optimally energized by way of proper food supplementation, positive thinking patterns, optimism, all of these things matter when it comes to being healthy. So when it comes to being toned or building muscle, you can't be afraid to eat fat. Building muscle, you can't be afraid of protein. And here's the thing about protein. Many of us have been conditioned to believe in order to build big muscles that we have to overload ourselves with an abundance of protein, whether it comes from milk protein or what's called whey protein, which are milk derivatives, leftovers, and which is hard on the liver and hard on the kidneys, which is why a lot of people do bulk up the way that they do, because the body and the musculature is backed up. Not because you have a quality protein. Whey protein accumulates because the composition of whey protein is far greater, 5 to 10 times greater than that of any amino acids that we produce on our own. And so we don't need an abundance of protein. I mean, daily, maybe 10 to 15% of our daily diet should be protein, because protein is a harder molecule once the amino acids come together or bind. When the amino acids bind, they create what's called the building block, protein. And your musculature does not need an abundance of protein to build muscle. If anything, your body needs more high energized carbohydrates, or what's called complex carbohydrates, from your fruits and vegetables, some of your grains, preferably a multi-grain that's been unprocessed, or a non-wheat flour grain, because it doesn't create the acid content that standard white or wheat bread does, or any kind of flour dough. So complex carbohydrates, brown rice, quinoa, avocados, sweet potatoes. These are all loaded with fat, glucose, or your natural sugar that the body truly needs, not the white processed sugar that's already been processed for you. That's not the sugar that the body needs to process for energy. Too much processed sugar, if you have too much processed sugar in your blood, your pancreas can't produce enough insulin to be able to utilize it. So what happens? Your pancreas becomes overloaded or overworked, and you have a fat accumulation now because your cells are so coated that insulin can't even break through the cell wall. So if insulin can't break through the cell wall, again, type 2 diabetes is going to ensue, and it's going to become worse and worse and worse, to the point of possible amputation. I'm sure many of us have known somebody that has been diabetic and has had to have a limb amputated. No one should have their limbs amputated because they didn't, because the individual didn't learn what it takes to reverse the diabetic condition that they created for themselves. I mean, diabetes doesn't just fall out the sky one day. Diabetes is a condition based on lifestyle. Not just eating habits, not just poor eating habits, but diabetes can be attributed to emotional traumas as well. Emotional traumas, lack of love, and things of this nature. When you feel sour, you want something sweet. Now we're going into, depressions and things of this nature. Because diabetes, or any physical, adverse physical condition can create depression. Especially if you don't know what is necessary for healing, proper healing. I mean, most people, when they get a diagnosis, fear kicks in automatically. Diabetes, cancer, HIV, all these things can be reversed. AIDS, HIV. I mean, we're just talking about the immune system, an acquired immune deficiency, which means that acquired means that it was developed by you according to your lifestyle, which suppressed your immune system. I mean, we're not supposed to have AIDS and HIV. I mean, human immunodeficiency or a human immunodeficiency virus. I mean, come on. When we know how our immune systems were by divine order given to all of us, by divine order, all of us were equipped and given all of the equipment that we've ever needed to be optimally healthy. We have the greatest medicine cabinet. We have the greatest, the greatest anti-depressant neurotransmissions and neurotransmitters and things of this nature. But once, because we haven't learned how to access these emotions or access certain parts of the brain, because we've allowed certain aspects of life to get the better of us, to bring our hopes and dreams to a halt, feeling down on yourself, not feeling like you're good enough, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're not worthy. All of us are ordained with worthiness. All of us are ordained with self-awareness, self-love. But it's up to the individual to acknowledge it and know that you can bring it forward and let it shine, because it belongs to you. You know, not being diabetic and having heart disease and cancer. No, that's not the creed of the human body to be half expired by the time you're 40 and 50, and on 10 medications and on wheelchairs and walkers and things of this nature, because we haven't learned how sacred and divine the human anatomy is. You know, we think it's something that will only be magically healed through the magic pill. And as we can see, decade after decade, this notion turns out to be false. Thank you for considering Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. For all levels of fitness or for various modalities of physiotherapy, schedule your consultation today by contacting Kennetic-Fit and Wellness at area code 562-306-8944. Be sure to visit the Kennetic-Fit and Wellness YouTube channel at Kennetic-Fit and Wellness Info, where you can view your favorite videos, including the best of Aim to Purpose, the radio show. Make sure to subscribe, click thumbs up, and remember to leave your comment. Kennetic-Fit and Wellness, mental attitude first.